Case 3. Ivy approach. 100 and percent. Local ratios. And Axiom 1. P.S. John cleaned the windows in his house. After breakfast, John cleaned 20% of all the windows. After lunch, he cleaned 30% of the remaining windows. Afterward, John cleaned 50% of the final remaining windows. What percent of the total number of windows were not cleaned? This is a PS problem, and we will use the Ivy approach to solve this question. This is a perfect example of the type of questions that frequently appear in exams. Remember how to approach and solve the question using the Ivy approach. Ivy approach 3-2, 100 and percent. If we are dealing with percentages, then we attach 100 to the related initial letter. Ivy approach 1. Local ratio can also be called a partial ratio. The main concept is that in the local ratio, the part becomes the whole. Ivy approach 4-1. Axiom 1. What fraction, what number, how many times, or a similar phrase can be translated into something or theta. Of can mean multiplication or times. Is can be equal to or equals. Percent can be percent or 1/100. We have to find the percent of the total number of windows that were not cleaned. In cases where a problem deals in percent, we use the related letter with 100. And in cases of problems dealing with fractions, we will use LCM of the denominator multiplied by the related letter. This question deals with percentage, so we will use 100 and the letter W from the word windows to get the total windows as 100W. It is important to attach 100 to the percentages. This is how you avoid making decimal errors. Now, with the total as 100W, we take the percentages as they appear in the question. After breakfast, 20% of all the windows are cleaned. So 20% of 100W, or 20W. Remaining windows equals 100W minus 20W, which equals 80W. After lunch, 30% of the remaining windows are cleaned. So 30% of 80W, or 24W. Remaining windows equals 80W minus 24W, which equals 56W. This means local ratio. Later that day, 50% of the remaining windows are cleaned, so 50% of 56W, or 28W. Remaining windows equals 56W minus 28W, which equals 28W. This also means local ratio. The number of windows yet to be cleaned is 28W out of 100W. We have to know what percent of 100W is 28W. Let's now convert the amount as a percentage using Axiom 1 of the Ivy approach mentioned above. Okay, this is very important, so be sure to pay close attention. What percent of the total number of windows were not cleaned can be converted into the equation what, meaning theta, percent, which is 1/100, of times the total number of windows, which is 100W, were equals not cleaned, 28W. Theta times 1 over 100 times 100W equals 28W. We cancel out 100 on the left side and W on both sides. And then we get theta equals 28%. So, B is the correct answer. This is a perfect solution. You can get scores above 49 if you get these questions right. The axioms are one of the secret weapons of the Ivy approach.